Hi, mean cheese. Welcome back to the Authentic Human Podcast. How are you?
Thanks, Michelle. I'm good. I'm happy to be back.
Oh, we're so happy to have you. So, tell me what is going on in your world right now? What can I help you
Hmm.
with?
Good question. Yeah, it's funny. I was like just ready for a walk now, and it was coming to mind what's actually going on. Um, yeah, I think what I've been noticing coming up a lot in my life currently is like questions around what am I actually doing and where am I actually going with kind of where I'm putting my energy into, like what should I be focusing on from like a career perspective or, like kind of themes around supporting myself financially while at the same time doing what feels authentic and kind of using my gifts. And it's interesting, it's been a period where that's like been bringing up a lot of inattention for me. Yeah, where and sometimes I feel the pull that like some financial pressure in my life. So then I'll try and look for some work, just in like old things I used to do, like teaching people kite surfing. But I don't know, like there's parts of me that doesn't, I really enjoy like working with people on their like healing journeys and that kind of stuff. Like that's what feels really aligned to
Yeah.
say. But it's the struggle of kind of trying to make that work financially. And I've just been having a lot of like, yeah, internal and external pressures. And this just feels like sometimes it feels like a boiling pot for me where it's just
Okay.
like, I don't know how to make it all work. I don't know.
I totally
Like,
understand.
yeah.
It's awesome. And can I also just say kite surfing, amazing. It's something on my bucket list. I'm like, I
Oh,
need to
really?
learn how to do this. But okay, so what I love this. I love this question
Yeah.
because I think so many people struggle with
Mm,
this on a regular basis. They feel like they have a job and they're not fulfilling a purpose.
mm,
And there's a whole bunch of reasons why that belief is incorrect. Okay. I'm
mm,
going to tell you why. First and foremost, there's two different sides of it. Okay. Is First of all, if you have a passion and you want to follow your passion, but then you feel like, oh, but I should be doing something spiritual. Okay.
mm, mm.
Here's the thing, fulfilling and following your passion is spiritual.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So kite surfing may not look like you're helping someone heal because you've
Mm,
decided how healing needs to look.
mm, mm.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Because, right, someone out there who may have never done it before, and you're going to give them the tools to conquer a fear, to learn how to build courage, to learn how to believe in themselves. What are the things that you have to get through to them when they're learning how
Mm,
to do it? They have to trust
mm,
themselves. They have to be able to follow their instincts, right? To feel the
mm.
water, feel the air, feel their body when it's doing certain things. That's any sport, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Any sport, any art, any type of medium, it doesn't matter what you're doing. There is spiritual in everything. Why? Because there's energy in everything.
Mm,
And
mm,
so if you've decided that it isn't spiritual, then you're overlooking the bounty that you're meant to be putting into that work.
mm. Okay.
It's allowing. So that's the and here's the thing is this is where the challenge of the spiritual religion, so to speak, because it is another religion, it's another belief system. That's
Mm,
where it falls short,
mm,
is in the belief that if you're not doing something that looks like this, you're not contributing.
mm.
Everyone's contributing. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I have people that I work with who are CEOs in different companies. They work in huge organizations that are all around the world, but they're making a difference. They're in the old paradigm, but they're breaking it down from the inside.
Yeah.
They're helping the organization see how to put humans first. They're helping the organization see how to create relationships that last. Their turnover goes way down. Their
Mm,
their employee satisfaction goes, it skyrockets to the point where then all of a sudden the company is following this person going, what are you doing? How are you doing it? What do you like? How can we do more? How can we do more? Sometimes I have some clients who are in totally mainstream businesses. They own franchises, and all of a sudden they start working with me. Their franchise shoots up in every way. Their sales go up, their employee retention goes up, their community aspect and impact goes up. And the head office is now like, what are you guys doing? And they're
mm,
like,
mm,
they can't get enough. They have people in there all the time trying to micromanage. And that now becomes the issue that we have to deal with because they're so fixated on what are they doing? We need to repeat it. And the
mm,
reality is there is the ability to make an impact no matter what you're doing, right? It's the
mm.
same thing how
Yeah,
we were
yeah.
talking about before. It's being able to look at every aspect of life and see what you're meant to be doing, who you're meant
Mm,
to be becoming in that role.
yeah.
Okay. So instead of worrying that it's not spiritual enough, because that's the thing, right? It becomes another fear. It becomes a guilt that am I not giving back enough because I know more about, our connection with the universe and I know more about how to
Mm,
heal. Healing is rebalancing, and
mm,
rebalancing is recognizing our role in existence.
mm,
And so as you allow that person to come into that space, massive healing is occurring. But
mm,
you
mm.
don't see it because they're like cheering, like, yeah, I nailed that, right? And you're
Yeah,
thinking that's not healing, but that's
yeah, yeah,
massive healing. And you have to
yeah.
allow yourself to start to see that because once you do, then your impact grows.
Mm, mm.
It's when we think that that work isn't spiritual enough
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
right, that we can't see our impact, so we can't make as much of an impact.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I definitely resonate with that. It's funny that I don't know if you know of Michael Singer at
No,
all.
no.
He's written some really cool like spiritual awakening books, and one of them I read a while back was very much like it was talking about his life, and it was exactly um, it was just talking about that process within himself, where he was kind of leading like all these retreats and stuff, and then something would come up in his life where he was helping people build houses, or he was, you know, doing computer programming work for somebody, and there was like a resistant part of his mind, like exactly like you're explaining it now, like, oh no, but this isn't spiritual. But he kind of made this like goal within himself to surrender to whatever life brought towards him. And every time that he surrendered to that, uh things worked out. So that was a really, yeah, it was a helpful book for me. But I think I was still just kind of, yeah, getting caught up in a little bit of this inner tension. Um, because I do both kind of those kinds of work where like I work with people one on one. Um, and I agree with you, like it's both are fulfilling their roles in whichever way. I think a part of me was just often more resistant towards the kite surfing work, where it was like, yeah, it's cool. It's nice to be able to work with people, but there's this feeling of like I'm not able to use my kind of, yeah, abilities, or like a part of me that wasn't getting met through that. That was always coming
But
up.
it's
Yeah.
really how you look at it, right? Because
Yeah, yeah.
here's the thing. When you're instructing, you're meeting a lot of people,
Yeah.
right? You're meeting
Yeah,
people you
yeah.
wouldn't normally meet who
Yeah.
potentially may come into wanting more from you just because of the way you're talking, not because you're like, oh, I'm going to save you and I'm going to heal you and I'm going to help you. It's you'll
Yeah,
say
yeah.
something in a certain way and they're like, huh, I never thought about it that way. And then that's your opening, right?
Yeah,
That's your,
yeah.
it's the same for me, like even with this podcast, right? It's do I love tech? No, no,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
detest it. But it defines my ability to connect with the world. And for that reason, I adore it
Mm,
because
mm.
you're in South Africa right now. I'm in Ontario, Canada,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we can have this conversation about something that is extremely meaningful to me. And I can
Mm,
feel your energy
mm,
all the way from here, right?
mm, mm.
So It's allowing yourself to participate, like he said, in what you're being offered, but it's also recognizing that everything, every part of our journey, every part of your journey is a stepping stone that takes you closer to fulfilling your bigger purpose. And
mm,
if
mm,
it's when we reject, we are like, nope, that's not spiritual enough, or, this is not good enough, or this is our job here right now, because this society is based on money, 100%.
mm,
If you don't have money, you have stress,
mm. Yeah.
period. So your job is to take the stress out so that you can fulfill and see more meaning and purpose. Because how much meaning and purpose are you able to see when you have immense stress about financial situations?
Mm, mm.
Not very much,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a
right?
good point. I often try to like oh the whole money thing doesn't matter. It's like it's stupid. But like you said, it's the society we're in where uh yeah, it's very limiting if you don't kind of take care of that aspect of life. Yeah.
And that's our job. That's our job physically here, is to take care of it.
Yeah.
It was interesting because in our private community a couple weeks ago, we were talking about money, and um, there was some universal beings that came through, and they said, if you today could say money was no object, what would you do with your life? And what they shared was that no matter what happens, so if your money problems went away, I use that word problems because there's so many dynamics. Whether you have money, whether
Mm,
you don't have
mm,
money, everybody's got money problems. It doesn't
mm,
matter whether
mm.
they're arguing because of how someone spent it or didn't spend it. There's everyone has it, or we don't have it, or we have like it's crazy.
Yeah.
And then there's anyways, it doesn't matter. But what they said is it takes 19 months for the mind and the body to decompress from financial stress. So
Wow.
even if you decided today, I would travel, I would do this, I would do that, it would take you 19 months to fully decompress and actually become aware of what you really want.
Right. Okay.
Just feel that for a minute. 19 months, that's almost 2 years of your life,
Mm, mm,
right? So our job is to recognize that if we allow financial burden, because we need to make money, if we allow it to impact us and define us, then we're constantly in that state of waiting for that 19 months to be ending. But we'll never get there
mm,
because our perspective holds us in that dynamic. And so
mm,
then your dreams and your goals and your, oh, I just want this, it would be perfect if this happens or this happens. What happens is you're in a state, it's like an out of body. So you're not participating in energy. You're not participating in your bigger picture. You're
mm,
participating in scrambling, trying to make things happen.
mm, mm,
And, it's one of those, like what they're showing me right now is it's recognizing that for you right now, you're building a foundation for the rest of your life.
mm,
What are the most important things you need for your foundation? Well, you need love,
mm,
and you need money, and you need awareness.
mm.
And then you need the willingness to participate.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
So love is not, oh, I love you. I love you. It's,
Yeah.
I recognize my need to be in this world and feel, right? Love is our connection with everything in this world.
Mm,
Right?
mm,
It's the piece of the creator that's in you, that's in me, that's in every experience in this particular universe. That's how we know, when someone is good, when someone is doing something with evil intentions, all of that is through that. It's through love.
mm,
Okay. It's
mm.
not that gooey, ooey, oh, I love you so much. That's not it.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
It's this
yeah.
recognition of, I feel who I am, why I'm meant to be here, and I feel my connection and I feel everyone else, right? Like that's, love. Money is right now, you have to have it. You can't live
Mm,
here without it unless you've set your life up entirely to live without it. But that's the financial aspect is you have to
mm,
set your life up in relation to the amount of money you're willing to participate in making,
mm. Okay.
right? So if
Yeah.
you're willing to participate in making, a certain, let's say you don't want to make any money. You just want, so then you have to figure out how to live without it. That needs to be
Mm,
your number one goal so that you can come to that place where then you can participate in the next two because you can't
mm,
participate in them until the foundation of money is secure. That means where is your
mm,
place or how are you living, right? Some people can live without money and they're comfortable, like 100% comfortable traveling and doing things and not having a home, not having things. That is their
mm,
jam, right? And that's okay. But it's being aware that your foundation of how you live physically needs to be taken care of by you. So, what
mm,
do you
mm,
want? And then the willingness to participate is, okay, it's my
mm.
job to make that happen, what I want,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And this is the thing is there's so many people who are like, I want all of this. Oh, but I just want it to show up for me because
Yeah.
I trust the universe is just going to give it to me. It'll give it to you as long as you're willing to participate in making it
Mm,
happen, right? Like
mm,
if I sat here and went, I just want to have conversations with people from all over the world,
mm, mm,
but
mm.
I didn't learn how to use the internet and I didn't learn how to use Zoom and I didn't have the money to have a Zoom account and all of those things,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not going to happen,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And if I
Yeah.
didn't have email to reach out and to say, this is what I'm doing, would you love to be a part of it? Again, not
Mm,
going to happen,
mm.
right? So
Yeah.
it's recognition that you're building a foundation. Your
Mm,
foundation needs to be a reflection of how you want to participate. So
mm,
as much as, everyone's like, and I hear this a lot, and then here's the other side. I remember getting judged for a long time of how can you charge for what you're doing? It's a gift from God. You should
mm,
be having a real job and doing this on the side.
mm, mm.
Right. And that's fine because that was based on their fears.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
reality
Yeah.
is, I tried that, but it didn't work. And the universe shut
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
down because that wasn't what my journey was meant to be. My
Mm,
journey was meant to be doing this all the time because it's playing into where I'm going in the future, right?
mm,
But I have
mm.
to be willing to participate.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with all of that. Like, I think I'm in. That's what I've been navigating is like you were saying that that figuring out what my yeah, just kind of bringing it all together. Like okay, what is my relationship to money going to be, and how am I going to figure that out myself? And then seeing all the resistances that have come up alongside that, like oh okay, I could do this or I could do that, and then like yeah, weighing it all up and yeah, and seeing the part like all these different parts, like the part that's like you said nicely is like the one that wants to just be like, okay, I want to make everything happen, but I don't want to participate.
It's
And
super
it's
fun.
yeah, exactly. And it's also I feel like it's just for me being like trying to blend together different approaches and concepts because like Matt that you've spoken to and like I know other people in that kind of community share their kind of approach to this. And it's more along the lines of what you were sharing as well, is like having knowing your worth and kind of not being afraid to charge for your gifts and all that kind of stuff. And I think I tried that a little bit, like in my kind of one-on-one sessions, but like I feel maybe we're on different paths, like me and Matt, like the way he's doing things. And I think that's what I've just been trying to figure out. It's like, okay, so that's how he's approaching money. Can I do it the same way? And it's like, okay, this is how this person is approaching money. How do I make it work? And there's been some interesting things in my life where I've kind of really done this trying to open up to the universe to give me things and then seeing things come up into my life. But like you said, the participation aspect was like, oh, there's an opportunity. Then I jumped and did a couple of steps and then that turned into something in reality. But I've just been kind of mixing around things, I think.
So, what the real issue, challenge aspect is that you're dealing with is clarity and commitment
Mm,
and consistency. So,
mm,
and what I
mm,
mean by that is remember, the secret of the universe is intention becomes energy, becomes experience.
yeah.
If you keep changing your intention because you're like, I'm going to try this and I'm going to try this, and will this work? But your
Mm,
intentions are based
mm,
on trying things, but also comparing.
mm,
So this is what he's doing. I'm going to try that. This is what she's doing. I'm going to try that. It's not working
mm,
for me. Okay.
mm,
So what your job is not to do, let's find out what someone else is doing and let's see if I can do that. It's okay.
mm,
So why isn't that working for me? And
mm,
this is the part most people don't want to go to because then we have to take accountability, right? Again, this is what I mean by
mm,
willingness to
mm,
participate. Okay.
mm,
And so your job is to go, why isn't working one-on-one and charging what I'm worth working?
mm, mm,
Okay. So the first question you ask yourself is, am I meant to work one-on-one? So
mm.
let's do it right now. Let's just feel
Yeah,
the energy. Okay.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's really cool, Kyle. Okay. Are you meant to work one-on-one with people right
That
now at this stage in your journey?
a, a part of me really enjoys it. Yeah,
Okay,
I
that's not
really
what I
enjoy.
asked you, though. That's not what I asked. I love you. I love that you love it. That is fantastic. Are you meant to?
I don't know. I've got conflicting opinions.
Okay, here's the difference between I love it and are you meant to? Okay.
Mm,
It doesn't mean you can't do it. But
mm,
what I'm asking you is your foundation right now meant to be working one-on-one with people?
mm,
Okay. Because it doesn't mean, if someone comes in and says, oh my gosh, Kyle, I really want to work with you,
mm.
100%, then you do it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But what I feel, okay, is you're meant to be working with groups of people, but a huge part of your magic is your laughter, your lightheartedness, your willingness to laugh at yourself, your willingness
Mm,
to make light of something when it is so dark and heavy so that it shifts and it moves easily.
mm,
Not many people know how to do that.
mm,
Now, just imagine for a minute, you hosted once a month, okay, a group of 12 to 15 kite surfers, okay,
mm,
for a transformational weekend experience. Okay. You're kite surfing, maybe it's a 3, 4 day event. Okay. You're kite surfing, you're doing meditations guided by you. You're doing, soul talk where they're talking about their biggest fears.
mm,
Start with what their biggest fears are with kite surfing. Then all of a sudden you're going into where else in your life are you having those massive fears?
mm,
Okay. And you're eating together. You're sharing all of these experiences. There's bonfires and campfires, and again, you're having fire ceremonies, not big ones. Like they don't have to be complicated. Your lightheartedness again. So it's now all of a
mm,
sudden, you know, everyone writes down their biggest fear because we talked about it today, and we're going to burn them. And tomorrow you're going to go, and when you get up, you're going to know that you're overcoming that fear because you're not going to let it stop you. Do you see how powerful that has the potential to be?
mm. It's funny. Something in me is like, no, 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 I don't want that though.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know. Like what I really love is what feels right is like I have done quite a bit of one-on-one work with people.
Yep.
I don't know. I feel like that just doesn't like I wouldn't know how to. I don't know. It just doesn't kind of fit into. Uh, I don't see it where that comes from in a sense, but like the one-on-one sessions, I do like. I think there's a point, yeah, about the group stuff, like a way to do more group stuff, but yeah, I don't see how to bring together the kite surfing and the kind of uh like
I just gave it to
transformational.
you.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I'll have to sit with that a bit and see if I can
So here's the
turn it.
thing, because those are the people who will go, oh my gosh, I'm going to sign up for your one-on-one because I need more than what we just did. I want to go deeper,
Mm, mm,
right? Does that make
yeah.
sense? Here's the thing. Do you know why I started this podcast originally? My original
But
intention was other people need to see the transformations that these people are having because inside of these experiences, they're going to receive so much at the same time.
mm,
Have you ever watched another episode and gone, oh my gosh, I felt that for me too?
yeah, yeah,
Right. That's why group work is so important.
yeah,
That's why it starts there.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But here's the other part is I know it 100% is a confidence issue. Okay.
Mm,
Because there is a fear of being challenged in front of a group, right? If you feel more in control, you feel, and I use that word control very specifically because that tells you that you have you're ready for growth. Okay. That's what that means.
mm,
Because when we try to control something, it's because we're scared to go further every single time. Okay.
mm,
You have an ability to make a difference. When you do one-on-one work, you feel their transformation, right?
mm,
When you go and do group work, you can feel the entire group take a deep breath at the same time.
mm,
Okay. And the reality is you're ready to go to the next level, but your brain is like, no, no, I need to stay here. I need to stay in the one-on-one. That's the control. And that's the fear of, I can't go further. This is where I'm comfortable.
yeah,
But
yeah.
if you're meant to go further and help hundreds of thousands of people instead of a couple hundred, doesn't that make
Mm,
more
mm.
sense?
Mm. No, I definitely I agree with that. I think the way I've been trying to do it is to like host like group meditations and kind of group things online of like yeah to reach more people at once. 'Cause I don't know, something just like the kite surfing, it's not even my like I work for a company and I'm like employed as an instructor in their business.
Mhm.
So
I understand.
uh yeah, I
And
like
and but does that mean you can't start your own?
I guess, yeah. It's
If
something
I
I've
put
never
the
quite.
effort in, I would. I would be able to. I've never thought about it. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've never like thought about yeah what you suggested of like
Marrying the
mixing because
two.
it's always felt I don't know like I just compare the people that I interact with the kite surfing and it seems to be very they're here because they want to learn kite surfing, but then if someone like reaches out to me through the online space, they're aware that like there's almost like a different kind of interest in what we're getting into, if that makes sense. Like I can totally see how I could bring it together, but I guess I've just never I think it's a lot for me to try and uh, come to terms with now is like the mixing the two in a sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that is probably the most beautiful thing I think I've ever heard you say, because that is the definition of consciousness is to be able to see how all aspects of your life come together as one,
Mm, mm,
right?
yeah.
And we've gone from awakening. That's what everyone's been focused on. Awakening, 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 having these spiritual experiences, yay,
Yeah.
to stepping into consciousness, participating on a conscious level, which
Yeah.
means all areas of your life come together as one and you're
Mm.
fighting it. Can you just imagine for a moment, Kyle, every single person that you know in your life in the same room, would they all get along?
No.
Right. But see, you've decided that. You've decided that humans can't get along with other humans,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So it's your mind needs to open.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a good point. Like it's something that I struggle with in certain I don't know, it's just it's a I guess it's a weird dynamic I've been playing with is like with certain people it feels very difficult to bring into perspective other aspects of my life. Like I don't feel comfortable being all of me, whereas yeah,
There's
I'll
your
show
problem.
up.
That's it. That's what you're working on.
Yeah.
Do you know what 2025 is going to be the year of?
But
They told us in our community a couple weeks ago, respect. And they're adding in another energy. I won't know till we do our ceremony on the 21st of December on the solstice, but respect. And respect is recognizing where you are and allowing yourself to fully participate.
mm,
And if you can't be you with everyone in your life, that's actually the real dynamic that you need to focus on.
mm,
Because if you're you in every aspect of your life, in every relationship, in every experience, then you're going to find that the abundance can flow. When you're only a little bit of you over here, and a little bit of you over here, and a little bit of you over here, and those are all different little bits of you, there's no abundance,
mm, mm,
right? So that's why your one-on-one practice can't grow, because you can't take people beyond where you are.
mm,
That's the whole,
mm, mm,
right? That's the whole point of one-on-one and working with universal energy, soul energy. And, the difference is you're at that level where you're ready to go, but you're like, no, no, I got this. I'm gonna put it the way I want it.
yeah,
But it won't grow unless Kyle grows. And what that
yeah,
means right now is your biggest mission in life right now is to learn how to be you everywhere all the time. It
mm,
does not mean you need to go and spew all of your spiritual stuff on people who are not spiritual.
mm, mm,
And when I say that, what I really mean is you don't need to go spewing universal awareness with people who aren't interested, but you
yeah, yeah,
still don't change who you are around them.
mm, mm,
So you're not, when they are looking for an argument, you're just choosing, who am I going to be? I'm not going to engage. I'm not going to participate. If they
mm,
ask a question that is ridiculous, you just smile
mm, mm,
and you don't say
mm,
anything.
mm,
But that's your level of participation that you need to go to. It's that place. And most people don't want to do this. This is where
mm,
humanity is. Um, this is why 2025 is the year of respect. It's
mm,
right.
mm,
2024 has been purity. It's all about communication. We cannot lie to ourselves anymore. So we now
mm,
understand where we are for the most part. If we don't understand, we're really uncomfortable situations, right? Whether mentally, emotionally, physically, relationships, all of those things. But the reality is we're stepping into a new journey, a new level, which is so cool because you are aware, and you're ready for it, which is why you showed up, which is why you asked the questions. Like, I need more
mm,
clarity on this direction. And, you know,
mm,
when you learn to allow yourself to 100% be who you are all the time, everything will shift.
mm,
The right relationships, that's every relationship across the board. Your family relationships will shift and change, okay? Everything will become abundant because it's
mm,
meant to, because you're participating in abundance.
mm. Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think I've been seeing that, like I've been aware that that process is playing out within me, like and I've been like conscious. Obviously it's still playing out because I can see the barriers, but it's been figuring out that balance, like you said, of like not because I think I've very much been in the camp of like feeling into if somebody's interested in like awareness and all of this kind of stuff. There's no need to bring that into it, but it was just seeing all these different parts of myself, like from past conditioning or whatnot, that would be pulled into like kind of trying to validate the other person or trying to people please. And it's been great for me to see how I've been able to be more and more in my own energy and staying grounded. But that's definitely has felt like yeah, the where the work has been happening
You're
is
at the next level
feeling.
now.
Yeah, feeling because I could feel it as well, like energetically, if I spend
That's right.
time around someone and I just get pulled into their world and it just feels so uncomfortable. So it's like, okay, I need to work on this. And
Okay,
yeah, I
but
guess
here's
that's what's
this,
been unfolding.
you nailed it. That's the secret, is literally feeling into who you need to be for that person, no
Mm,
matter
mm,
who it is or where it is. If you're feeling and getting pulled in, that's not feeling, that's an emotional reaction.
mm, mm,
Okay. Because universal awareness, when you're feeling at that level and the energy, you're not getting pulled into someone's drama and dramatics
Mm,
and whatever it is. You're allowing yourself to go, ah, this person's angry, this person's frustrated. Who do I need
mm,
to be to help them? And then, because instantly, right? Anger is fear. So if someone's scared, you go, okay, what are they scared of? Oh, they feel uncomfortable. They feel threatened. Okay, so who do I need to become so that they don't feel threatened? And then all of a
mm,
sudden, your conversation shifts because of who you chose to be based on
mm,
what you felt, right? The thing is when we approach everything through thinking, I know this person, this is how they always show up, that's
mm,
how we have decided nothing is going to change, right?
mm. Yeah.
Feeling is your superpower. But if you're getting sucked into someone else's dynamic, that's not feeling. That is literally your reaction, your emotional reaction to their emotional reaction.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's fundamentally different, right? You want to go to that place where you're feeling the energy because that gives you universal awareness that says, okay, if I want to participate at the highest possible level that I can, who do I need to be? Oh, this person just needs a hug. Oh, this just person just needs a smile, or they just need to feel like someone has seen them or heard them. And
Mm,
then
mm,
everything shifts. Total strangers, it could be family members, some people that live in the same, you know, home as you. The
mm.
reality is it's your job to participate in the best way possible. And right now, the universe is saying, Kyle, we know you can do better because your impact is meant to be greater than what you're offering right now.
Mm, mm.
Right? It's not, and here's the thing is a lot of people, I love that you're so open to hearing, and I know it's not super comfortable, 100%. But at the end of the day, we've come up with this based on the history of religion and all the dynamics that have come out of religion is you're being judged for poor behavior. No one's judging you. That's not how the universe works. The universe is saying,
Mm,
Kyle, there's an easier, better way over here.
yeah, yeah,
Let's do that, right? We don't have time. No one's sitting here going, Kyle, you're doing it all wrong. You're a bad
yeah.
boy, right? And you're going to be judged for this. No, that's not how this works, right? And that's why very few people have that pull to want to work one-on-one. Why?
Mm,
Because one-on-one is a consistent, you're doing this, but you can be doing it this way. That's all one-on-one work is.
mm, mm, mm,
100% is always consistently seeing a bigger perspective from the universal side of things, right? That's it.
mm,
And it
mm,
takes a strong human to want to see that every single time. That's, you
mm.
know, I've been doing this for almost 20 years. And every single time I have a call, there is a moment where it's like either they're going to get it or they're not. You feel it.
Yeah, yeah,
And the ones who have stuck with it have completely changed their life. The ones who are like, oh, I can't get this. This does not make sense to me. I don't want it to make sense because it means that I'm uncomfortable. I have to look at who I am, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
I have to change. And I don't want to do that because if I change, then that means it's going to take a lot of effort. And then my family is going to be uncomfortable. My friends are going to be uncomfortable. And
yeah,
I don't want to go through that. So I'm just going to say I don't get it.
yeah, yeah,
You know, you know this
yeah,
because if you've worked with one-on-one with people, you can see that. That is 100% the foundation of working one-on-one. It doesn't matter if it's business mentoring or coaching or all the things, everything out there, right? Either people are going to get it and they're willing to participate or they're not. And
yeah, absolutely.
what they're saying for you right now is for you to get to the next level, okay? That next level of your fulfilling your reason for existence. So that, again, right? Reason for existence is participating in exploring your own potential, right?
Mm,
So if you want to go further, you've done everything you can at this level. You've done it. That's why you're restless. That's why you're frustrated. That's why you're annoyed.
mm.
That's why you're like, it's not fulfilling because you're
Yeah.
not challenging yourself. And
Yeah.
then when they say, well, this is what you have to challenge yourself with, you're like, yeah, I don't feel like doing that. Trust me, I know because I've done it myself, right? I'm 20 years in, lots more. Anyways,
Yeah, yeah,
that's what
I
we
can
do.
resonate.
And it's
Yeah.
brilliant because
Mm,
when you see that, for me, now I laugh. I
mm, mm.
genuinely, I'll be making my bed and I'll see the absurdity of that's what I want, but I also am not willing. That's great,
Yeah.
Michelle. Good job. Right? But after
Yeah.
20 years, that's what you get to. You get to that place where you feel the pressure and you start to get excited because you know the
Mm,
transformations on the other side. And
mm,
it's what's going to make the difference. And right now, for you, it is literally being willing to participate at that next level that makes you uncomfortable. Because
mm,
when you conquer that discomfort, you're going to find not only immense freedom, but immense impact in the world.
mm,
That's
mm,
why you're restless because you're just not
mm,
challenged enough. You're bored.
mm, mm,
You're
mm.
literally, I'm unschooling my 11-year-old Kyle, okay?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he's, since he was 5 years old, 4 or 5, when he starts doing things he's not supposed to, and I use that very, like talking back now at this age or whatever
Yeah.
it was along the way, but it's always a reflection of him no longer being challenged. When he's being
Mm, mm,
challenged, he is calm. He's comfortable with himself. He can relax when he's meant to relax. He can challenge
mm,
himself when he's meant to challenge himself, and he can overcome those challenges. Yeah, sometimes there's tears and frustration and he has to work hard, but he has the confidence to do that. It's when he's bored that it
mm,
becomes a cycle. And right now, right, if you look at humanity, we're bored.
mm,
And we've
mm,
created, well, a, a system has been created for us to stay stuck in that. Social media is the
mm,
foundation
mm,
of saying stuck in bored so we don't
mm.
do anything,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
right?
that I feel that so strongly. And I've been aware of that, like that dynamic, but it's been like I think I get like there was a part of me that knew that exactly. It was like I'm bored. I need a challenge. I need to get myself engaged in something more. Because that was the whole thing with this like healing journey as well. It's like I was studying at the time, and there was a part of me that was like, it doesn't really align. But at the same time, I really enjoyed the challenge of it and like yeah, learning and doing all of that. And then since then it was like a whole different world. And that's also been something on the back of my mind is like in this feeling of boredom and wanting to challenge myself. I think I get stuck well, I have been in the past been getting stuck in like a bit of a paralysis mode where it's like, okay, yeah, something needs to change. I need to challenge myself. And it's like, okay, do I go back and like study something new? Do I go do this? Do I go do that? But just everything we've spoken about here, there's often areas in my life that are offering a little bit of that challenge, like the work that's coming up, and yeah, like embracing that and allowing that to take me where it takes me. But yeah, I think that was one of my challenges. I was getting stuck in this like, yeah, this like paralysis mode where I was like, okay, if I go back and study, do I study this? Oh, do I, try and build on this? Do I try and build on that? Like to deal with this boredom feeling. Yeah,
Yep. So
yeah.
I'm gonna share something else that may not feel good. It's all fun.
That's good. If I need to hear it, I need to hear
Yeah.
it.
So we're not meant to be, we've never meant to be um, studying outside of ourselves.
Mm, mm,
So that means anything from spiritual works to modalities to anything. Like school was never meant to be a thing. And that
mm, mm,
education that I need to learn more, I need to learn more. That restlessness is correct. We do need to learn more,
mm,
but we're not meant to learn from other people doing other things.
mm,
We learn through energy, period. That is
mm,
how we learn. And so what happens is, and this is where I see, I call them like spiritual junkies because they're just consistently like, I'm going to take another course. I'm going to take another course. I'm going to take another course. But not one of them has allowed themselves to go to the depths inside of them that they're meant to go to.
mm, mm,
So they've just said to you, what you're meant to be working on right now is going to change your life,
mm,
right? Like all you have to do is start to see how you're participating. And when it's again, it's a regular thing. It's like, oh, I'm going to go take a course to know how to deal with that.
mm,
But that's not right. All you have to do, it's so simple, but it's the human way to make it complicated. I need to
mm,
sign up for a course. I need to pay money to somebody else, right, to learn
mm,
about something about my own existence, right?
mm,
No one can teach you about yourself, right? I don't
mm,
teach
mm.
anybody about themselves. I create an opportunity for them to get the awareness that they've forgotten how to get themselves
Yeah,
until they
yeah,
can remember. That's all I'm doing,
yeah, yeah,
right? So, and it's up to you to decide how you're going to use it, right?
yeah, yeah.
100%. But it's understanding that if we continue to go to someone else's course, to use their strategy, to learn their, their tools and tricks, they will never work as well for you as they have for them.
Mm,
Why? Because they did the work of going into the universe and extracting that information for themselves because their intention was very specific and very clear.
mm, mm,
If your intention is, I'm going to follow what that person did because that person's amazing, that's great, but
mm,
you're never going to reach your potential.
mm, mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
You're ready,
I
Kyle. You're ready to do this and like so ready. It's crazy.
yeah,
And it's scary because then you have to adult, right? You
yeah,
have to,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. And that's really what you're fighting is I
Mm,
don't want to
mm,
be a full adult yet. If I'm still like
mm,
in school and I'm learning, then I can have that as my reason for not
mm,
settling into this life or getting a home or even if you don't want a home. Like that's
mm,
what they
mm,
mean.
mm.
You need to decide what works for Kyle right now. I don't care what works for Kyle 5 years from now because Kyle 5 years
Mm,
from now is going to be someone completely different, especially if he follows what's right for him right now.
mm, mm.
Don't start planning for the life 5 years from now. That will naturally unfold and occur how it's meant to based on who you're being today. But you
Yeah,
can't get there if you're not following what's right for you right now.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So really what you want to be doing, and this is what I'm going to suggest, is sit down and get really clear on what you want, right?
Mm,
What lifestyle do you want? Where do you want to live? How do you want to live? Okay. And what does that look like? And then what do you need to live? So what do you need to do to support that lifestyle?
mm.
Okay. So that's financially, emotionally, mentally, physically. Excuse me, right? And then
Yeah,
whatever that is, then you go, okay, universe, let's do this and pay
yeah,
attention to the signs, right?
yeah,
The signs will come, but you have to create the intention. The energy will then take shape. The universe can't give you energy if you don't have a clear intention. So if your intention is, I'm going to follow and try what Matt's doing and see if that's going to work for me. And then I'm going to see if I can do this because this is okay. And now I'm going to try this because this person, it's
mm,
working for them. Your intention's all over the place. And the
mm,
universe is going, okay, well, we gave you
mm,
this, but then you changed it just before it was about to be fulfilled. You decided to change your
mm,
mind because you didn't think it was happening in the time you needed it. So
mm. Yeah,
clarity,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think a part of me again, it's like whenever you say something, it's like, okay, yeah, it's like it's a good confirmation for the part of me that knew that, but was still kind of not fully into it. But yeah, I have been I think feeling into that as the approach as well is like yeah, get clear on what I want. Like I've been trying things and yeah.
You're ready to go to the next level,
Yeah.
right? And the next level right now is challenge yourself to be yourself in all areas of your life And
mm,
that
mm,
number one is sitting down and going, huh, where do I really want to live? How do I really want to live? Challenge yourself
mm,
to say it, no matter what everybody else thinks,
mm,
right?
mm, mm,
Number one, like that's
mm,
huge because so many people base, okay, well, I should have a house because I'm this age, or I should be living like this because I'm this age, or I'm this, in this situation, and I want to have a partner and I want to. There's so many reasons that we make our choices. And what
mm,
they're saying is all of your choices that are going into that intention need to be a reflection of who Kyle is and what's important to Kyle. Because when you do that, then the right work opportunities, the right relationship opportunities, the right friends, the right community, the right home, all can come
mm,
to you. But it can't come if your
mm,
intentions are all over the place.
mm, mm. Yeah, and I've seen it for myself. Like the things have popped up into my life, and then it was I can see, like I can really, as we're talking about it, like see steps to take where somebody offered me an opportunity recently, and then I was like, do I want to do that or do I?
Right?
But yeah, but I guess as I get clearer on, okay, where do I want to live, and then yeah,
How
like
and how do
following
you
up,
want to live, right? Like where and
yeah,
how? Like how
yeah,
to me is more important than where,
yeah, 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 I
right?
agree, yeah,
And the thing is you don't have to take every opportunity you're offered because sometimes they're just going to be ew. But
mm, mm,
it's understanding that it's not going to look like it's going to look, right? Like I
yeah,
remember um I had to file for bankruptcy, walk away from my home, and oh God. And literally couldn't find a job anywhere. Why? Because I was trying to find a job. I wasn't
mm,
allowing my work to come out. I was like, no, I have to do that on the side. I believed that
mm,
so strongly because I was so worried about what other people were going to believe. So when I first started doing it, that was the criticism that I was getting back. Why? Because that was my
mm,
intention. And I was
mm,
consistently scrambling all the time,
mm,
mentally, emotionally, financially. So who we be and how we participate is a reflection, it's reflected in our life.
mm, mm,
And it doesn't always look pretty, right? Because I was like, I
mm,
need to have a job and no one would hire me. Like not at the coffee shop. And, I mean, I was overqualified or underqualified. So no one was going to hire
mm,
me
yeah,
because if I was overqualified, they didn't want me to leave after they, invested in me, right? Like who would want to do that
mm,
because this
mm,
person's too good for this, or they know too much, or they're restless and they're going to get bored. So we're not going to waste
mm,
our money on training. So,
right, yeah,
right. So it's one of those things where it's a recognition that you have to allow yourself to follow the energy, but you got to show up and you got to pay attention, right?
mm,
You
mm,
got to participate in a way that you're putting your all in and
mm,
your
mm,
intention's clear. And I learned that through trial and error. I will say my error was
mm,
just, having to go through massive challenges because I
mm,
didn't
mm,
understand how it worked. And there wasn't anyone out there um, who I knew at the time who could help, right?
yeah, yeah,
But at the end of the day, right now, it's like how I'm seeing it. It's funny. It's like you're this plant, but you've got these roots and they're dangling because
mm,
they have nothing to hook into and they're short
mm,
because you're
mm,
not giving them the depth and that they need. They're not giving them, there's nothing for them to sink their roots into so that they can get the nourishment that they need, the challenges, right? You need to be challenged. In fact,
mm,
if you're doing less than 4 or 5 things at the same time, you're going to be bored
mm,
always.
mm.
It's who you
Yeah, yeah,
are. And
yeah,
it's allowing yourself to feed that knowing, right?
yeah, yeah,
And when we don't
yeah,
feed what we need, we get restless and we get frustrated and we get bored. So
mm, mm,
allow yourself to
mm,
honor, like, this is, I love to do this and I love to do this, but it's also being able to recognize that it's all of Kyle that does this. It's all of Kyle that does this part of his life and this and this and this.
mm,
Be
mm,
all of
mm,
you in each one of those, because then the abundance is going to, it's like flipping the switch, it's going to turn it on, right? Universal
mm,
abundance is always happening around us, but
mm,
are we allowing it to flow? And when we use
mm,
control,
mm,
we're not.
mm. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think, yeah, it's like just I like what you said about the like multiple things at once. I think that's I was trying to like settle on one thing when it's like yeah, just taking everything that comes at me. Yeah, I guess the one thing about the studying thing that it was more like a uh, kind of to go back to what you were saying at the beginning of the conversation, like working in the world in like a non-spiritual way, like that's what my mind was wondering about the studying because I was like studying economics and I was like, okay, should I go back and finish that degree? Because so many people have suggested it to me. So I guess that was like one of the other, and maybe I will still, it wasn't more like the studying like somebody else's spiritual course or something like
Yeah.
this. It was kind of like, should I go and kind of like you mentioned, like people working in businesses and having an effect, even if it's not through like a spiritual lens or something like
Yeah.
that. I guess that's also
But
where I
it
was kind of,
is, right?
yeah,
It is.
yeah, exactly.
That's why your intentions have to be clear, because then you'll know going back and getting that degree, it will
Yeah, yeah.
become like a no-brainer. It's like, yep, that's going to fulfill that intention. Where you want to live,
Okay.
how you want to live, and the person you want
Yeah.
to be, right? Like the bigger picture is recognition. Like for me, my bigger picture is always I want to fulfill my mission here. I want
Mm,
to
mm, mm,
become who my soul intended me to be, and I don't want a single regret. That's
mm,
it. That's it. So now
mm,
whenever opportunities come in, I'm like, oh, am I going to regret saying no to this? Like, and this is going to sound crazy, but I have visualized myself lying on my deathbed. Who are the people that are right there with me? The ones that,
mm,
you know, and how am I going to feel if I look back and I'm sharing with them that, oh, I didn't do this? Because those are the people that
mm,
matter. Like, and when I say they matter, it's we're invested in each other's lives in every way, right? And it's
mm,
like, am I going to be able to say, oh, I wish I would have done that, but I
mm,
didn't?
mm.
I
Yeah,
don't want that feeling. I don't
yeah.
want to carry that feeling, And yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's
that's
I like that. Yeah, that's a good thing to have in the back of my mind when something's coming up or whatever. It's
right.
like, is am I? Yeah, and I think yeah, again, a part of me has known that, but that's a really good reminder. Is to like think is saying yes to this going to more likely to fulfill like my soul's purpose or yeah, saying no to it and
Yeah. And what is
yeah.
it? Like for me, it's understanding our sole purpose is to explore our potential. So, you know, then it's going, okay, there's a whole bunch of people saying I should go back to school and study economics, right? Like finish
Mm,
that
mm,
degree. And then you go,
mm,
okay, so if I get to, lying on my deathbed, am I going to look back and go, "Oh, I wish I would have finished that. Even if I didn't use it, I wish I would have finished it.
mm,
Then you
mm,
know right
mm,
there. It's
mm.
a no-brainer,
Mm. Yeah, and then
right?
that thing like when you put it like that, it for me it does feel like it's something worthwhile to do, where it's like
Right?
it's just something to do while like on my path. Maybe I often think of like how is this going to fit in? How am I going to use it? But it does make sense. Just it'd be nice
Everything
to get
fits
it
in,
done. Yeah,
right?
exactly,
Everything can
exactly.
fit in somewhere. It's just a matter of how you choose to look at it and participate, right? Like that's what they were saying right at the beginning, right?
Yeah,
It's
no,
brilliant.
it's so true, and it's funny that because to go back, what I was shared at the beginning was like Michael Singer's story. It's very. I think that's why I love the book so much because I can really relate. He was going through like similar things where he was like, same thing. Like he went on the spiritual path, and they're like, come back and do your PhD in economics, and he was like, no. And then he did, and as you said, everything just slotted in later in his life, where it was like, then he was doing this and doing that because of everything that had happened before. And it's funny, like my mind could be like, "Oh, I love that story," but I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna apply it exactly to me. But no, this was good. Very like it was exactly what I was hoping for. Was like a bit of a push and some clarification.
Yes. And
Yeah,
a little bit of a nope, can't hide from that.
yeah, exactly. Like again, like okay, I can maybe convince myself or just like stay stagnant for a
Yeah.
while, but it's like talking with you, it's like okay, yeah, I've wanted some advice and then now I know
Yeah.
where to go.
You're so ready. You're so
Yeah.
ready. It's beautiful. And the thing is it's understanding and recognizing no matter what you do, you're participating in a bigger picture.
Mm,
And
mm,
it's up to you to decide how you're going to use it,
mm,
right?
mm,
Integrity is always your greatest potential and possibility.
mm,
So if
mm,
integrity is in with your intention, no matter what you do, you're good to
mm.
go,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Then I can bring it into anything, no matter
right?
what it is. Yeah.
Integrity is a state of being. It's not a job title,
Mm,
or it's not
mm,
what you're doing. It's how you're doing it.
mm. Yeah. Yeah. And for me, it's just been this little hesitant self in the background that's like wants to pull back sometimes.
Yep.
But yeah.
Not anymore.
No.
It's going to be
Yeah.
interesting. So for the next few months, let yourself focus on being all of Kyle, no matter where Kyle is and who Kyle is with.
Mm.
Let me know how it goes.
Thanks. I will do. Yeah, and it's good. I think it's about allowing, yeah, all the different parts of my life to come together. That was key because like I've been since feeling this way, like I've been engaging with more people online, like growing some podcast stuff, and that's been really exciting. But then they were still trying to compartmentalize things a little bit, where it's like, okay,
Yes.
so I'm doing this now instead of that. When it's like you said, it can be all of it together. Yeah.
So, do you want to know the best book if you need a reminder on how to do this?
Mm.
The Alchemist.
Actually, I remember you mentioned it in our last conversation. I
Uh-huh.
haven't. I went back and watched that the other day because I was like wanted some to see what was in that conversation, and I was like, should I read The Alchemist because you mentioned it? So I think I will then. Yeah.
Yeah. When I was learning how to be me across the board, I probably read that book every 6 to 8 weeks,
Mm,
over and over and over again. And how I knew I needed to read it again was because I was feeling restless and I needed
mm,
something to focus on because it helps you see signs and
mm,
it helps you to learn how to be yourself no matter what is going on around you,
mm,
right? It's not the story. I mean, we know the story. The story is the story. It's great once you get it,
mm,
but it's not about the story. That book is about learning how to live in the moment and understand who you're being,
mm.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Okay. I'll
yeah. And
purchase
there was
it.
about 10 years, Kyle. I swear it was either I was reading it every 6 to 8 weeks or I was reading it every few months, but it
Mm,
was always on the go. And whenever I pick it up, it's like, yep, that's what I needed to see, like you just keep going.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Okay. I'll check it out. Yeah.
Awesome. Let me know how you're doing. Thank you so
Yeah.
much again for coming back, for being so open. I love your authenticity and
Thank
your
you.
willingness, even when it's uncomfortable, you still show up and you're still embracing the potential and possibility of getting to the other side. And you can feel it. The moment you
Yeah.
shift, it's like, oh, okay, that feels better,
Mm,
right?
mm. Yeah, for sure. When all these things came up, I could feel it energetically as well. Um, yeah, I always like to ask you at the end if you can just like give me an energy kind of reading or check in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
And I love it. Okay. So yeah, there's not um mm, so definitely okay. So reproductive organs and throat are your biggest challenges right now.
Mm,
Because again, that's grounding into who you are and being able to communicate it into the world. Yay, right? No brainer.
Yeah.
So as you get more comfortable being you no matter what, they're going to come back into balance.
Okay.
Yeah. So I can show you right now. It's actually really cool because the energy is actually coming up. It's almost like it's like coming up through the nasal. So cool. Through the nasal passages ways right into the brain. It's like restoring that connection of allowing yourself to be all of who you are because who you are is connected to the bigger picture. It's connected to the universe, right? So as I'm
Mm,
shifting it, you can feel it's rebalancing
mm,
everything.
mm,
So you can feel Now it's coming down through your feet and going through into the earth. And it's recognition that, you know, this rebalancing is a reflection of what it means to be who you are in all areas of your life. And
mm,
now it's
mm,
your job to maintain that space, maintain this energy through everything you're doing. Okay.
mm. Okay.
Yeah. It's now this the center of the chest. It's like opening it because you have a tendency to sort of curl in
Mm,
energetically, right? You can see
mm,
as soon as you see people who curl like this, they're not comfortable in themselves. Period.
mm, mm,
That's 100% what it is. People say, "Oh, it's a bad back, it's bad posture." Absolutely. All a reflection of not being comfortable with who
mm.
you are.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And right now we're on a mission to become comfortable. That's why 2025 is the year of respect,
Mm, mm.
right? So
Yeah.
if you have Believe, I would read the chapter on respect because that will also be super impactful over the next over the next year for sure. Over the next 18 months for you in particular, Kyle. I'm just working in the reproductive organs right now because there's a lot of the way the energy they're showing me, it's like grinding. It's like the gears are grinding against each other. And what that means is you're trying too hard to please other people
Mm,
and not allowing everything to flow smoothly, right? So
mm,
universal energy naturally flows. But when we try too hard, we slow the flow and then we try to make it work in our own way, right? So if you imagine that's like gears, it's like how gears were, so let's say there's, a motor of some sort that was created very specifically to work in this way. And we're saying, oh, no, no, I have a better way. Let's do it
mm.
this way and
Yeah.
turn this and tweak this. And now they're grinding and they're working against each other and they're, so nothing is flowing.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what, you're doing right now with universal energy. You're like, no, no, I have a better way for it to work. Let's do it this way because in your brain,
Mm-hmm.
you've decided this is going to be more comfortable. But now
Mm,
you're realizing it's actually really uncomfortable and nothing
mm,
feels
mm,
good. And there's lots of frustration. And there's just like, it's like, I don't know which way I'm supposed to go. It feels like a deer in headlights sometimes. And then you're like, I have all these choices, but you're not making any choices. So all of
mm.
those things are a reflection of control and not allowing yourself to follow the energy. And I know, that seems like such an overwhelming process sometimes. Or, it's like, how do I follow the energy when I don't know what the energy is
Mm,
telling me? When you come to that place where you take a few breaths and right before you go to bed, ask, give me some clarity. And
mm,
when you wake up in the morning, those first 30 seconds, 60 seconds after you wake up, the energy will be right there. If
mm,
you hear it, if you're allowing yourself to pay attention, what's the first thought? What's the first energy before your brain turns on? But what's the first thing that came in?
mm,
Because it's always there. But most of the time, it kicks our brains into thinking, oh, what about this? And I gotta get this done. And then da, 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 da.
mm,
But right now, you know, I mean, we're soul beings, right? You're a soul being who is here on a mission to help restore humans to how we were meant to be, right? That's why
mm.
everyone's in existence right now. And so how can you do that best, right? In this moment right now as Kyle. And
Mm,
when I meet when like the universe knows who you are, where you live, how you live, who you live with. They know all those things. They're not going to say,
mm,
something that doesn't make sense to all the pieces of your life. And this is where, we often
mm.
think, oh, I have to sell my house and move, or I have to get out of this relationship. If those things are meant to happen, it's because it's going to help everybody in the situation. But we get
Yeah, yeah.
so defined by our need to control, and our control is driven by one thing 99% of the time. We don't want to be uncomfortable,
Mm, mm. Yeah.
right? We use words like, oh, I don't want to hurt that person, which
Mm,
really that
mm, mm,
means
mm.
you don't want to be uncomfortable and deal with the person that you've now upset.
Yeah.
or who's having an emotional reaction as a result of what they've discovered. Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. I'm
We're
with you
not going to go into
100%.
because that's just, we get that. But
I'm with you. Yeah.
right, it's understanding that right now, massive growth. And
Mm,
it's coming back. Um, they're saying, don't worry so much about meditation per se, because you have such a great handle on feeling energy. So
mm,
instead of meditating, they want you to get out and do something and feel the energy
mm,
of it while you're doing it. So if you're kite surfing, it's like, okay, water energy. Can I feel the essence and
mm,
energy of the water itself and the air? And how are they working together while I'm up here?
mm, mm,
Okay. Because now that's going to take you to an out of body experience while you're doing that. You,
Okay.
you see
Yeah.
what, like, I'm just using kite surfing because that was one of those
Yeah.
examples you
Yeah.
brought up.
Yeah.
Right? But it's anything. It's the same thing when
Mm,
if you go back to school and you're in school and you're in class and the professor's speaking, and there'll be moments where you're like, oh, that piece of information makes so much sense, right?
mm,
Like
mm,
when I hear things, I'm like, the universe shared that with me,
mm,
5 years ago, 2 years ago, last week. And it's like, that makes total sense. Now I
yeah.
understand, right? Like I remember we started the community, the private community in 2020. And I remember they said the number one thing to combat COVID was oxygen in the body. And the best
Mm,
way to get oxygen in the body was to build muscle. And I was
right.
like,
Right.
okay. So, I've been working out religiously since 5 days a week. It's awesome.
Mm,
But
mm,
it was like a couple weeks ago, and I was listening to this really awesome human speak. And he said, when oxygen is in the body, disease cannot exist. And I went,
mm,
right. And then that brought what they said 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago,
right.
almost five now, into perspective. But then it also went, right. That makes total sense, because are there diseases hanging out on surfaces? No, because
Mm,
they can't exist in
mm,
oxygen.
mm,
So
mm.
it's really fascinating when
Yeah.
right? Like all of those things happen when we allow ourselves to continue to learn. We continue to take in information. When we need to
Yeah.
control, we stop learning.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
agree.
don't get me wrong, there's certain areas of my life where I'm like, oh, I'm going to still control this aspect over here.
Mm,
And it doesn't flow. And you're like, oh, man. So, but the point is the moment you start to feel that friction, it's being able to go, what am I doing to cause it? Right. And that's
mm,
what you
mm,
did. You reached out and you're like, Michelle, I
mm.
love some clarity, right? That's it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
thank you. It's funny.
Oh, you hear?
A recent podcast I was listening to, I had a great quote that was exactly, it just sums everything up nicely. It was like, we get to this, we're like, okay, universe, like, take the car, you drive, I'll go. And then you're sitting in the back seat, and you're like, yeah, no, but make a U-turn, or like, no, slow down. It was like, you're letting the universe drive, but you're still trying to tell it how to drive. And I found it really funny because it resonated, and it was exactly what was coming to mind with everything here. It's like that, yeah, sure, I'll let it flow, but then like the gears are grinding because you're still trying to control the flow.
Yep. Yep. It's like
Yeah.
I'll let it flow as long as I'm still comfortable. But the moment I
Yeah,
hit
exactly.
discomfort, brakes.
I'll let it flow as long as I can still tell it how to flow. It's like, is that really letting it flow?
Oh, I love it. Oh my gosh. Kyle, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming back, and let us know how you're doing. Yeah, check in. Let me know how this works. I want
Awesome.
to,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you so
Kyle,
much, Michelle.
yeah, you being you with all the people in your life and all the experiences, it's going to change everything.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and thank you so much always for holding the space. Like, I really appreciate that I can reach out and get this awesome interaction. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you. I'll see you soon. Bye,
All right.
Kyle.
Cheers, Michelle.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you've enjoyed this conversation, learned something, or received any benefit that you believe will improve your life, subscribe to our channel so I can serve you better by attracting unique guests and starting even bigger conversations. If you know you're meant to change the world, head on over to michellevickers.com, where innovators and thought leaders go for guidance, wisdom, inside information, and support they can trust. Until next time, stay curious.